actually be 9 million people who would not receive any assistance. This month, the 4 million would receive some level of assistance, whereas 9 million people in April would not receive any assistance. When I mentioned earlier, 6 million people are at kind of the brink of famine. We wouldn't even have enough resources to serve those 6 million people to get any assistance.
Well, what are the reasons for the funding shortfall? Torek Farhadi joins me from Geneva in Switzerland to discuss this. He has served as an economic advisor to former Afghan President Hamid Karzai. Thank you so much for joining us on this news hour, Torek. But what are the factors that have contributed to a drop in donor funding, particularly in this year, that is leaving millions on the brink of famine?
Thank you. Well, basically, the principal donor for food aid in Afghanistan is the United States. And the United States is increasingly a reluctant donor because of the political climate in the United States before the elections, where Republicans have written to the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction, who had audited the WFP, can you prove to us that the money doesn't go to the Taliban? And we can't really say the money doesn't go to the Taliban. First of all, it stabilizes the country, which is to the benefit of the Taliban. And also, after 18 months, a number of companies are contractors of the WFP, which probably have indirect links to the Taliban. That's the nature of the economy there. But on the Afghan side, what has been difficult is that the emir of the Taliban has forbidden women from working at NGOs and the delivery of aid. And the United Nations, the Europeans also, which contribute to these kinds of budgets, have complained that in order to deliver efficient aid, women need to get into households and need to see who needs the aid inside the household. Because it's a traditional society, Afghanistan, women need to be meeting the people they are helping. And that has become increasingly difficult in Afghanistan. And it seems that politically it's going to be very difficult in Washington or in Europe to increase the aid to Afghanistan. Aid to Afghanistan has already been 60% of what the United Nations had requested last year, and this year we can't see any prospect of increasing it. Once again, the victim here is the population. And the emir of the Taliban, which has given these severe edicts, has never mentioned the word poverty in one of his speeches in the last 18 months. The Taliban consider that the international community is responsible to feed the Afghan people, and they can govern in the palaces right now.
But Torek, even before the Taliban took over, Afghanistan was heavily reliant on international aid. And next month, we're hearing that 9 million people may not have anything to eat. You talk about the importance of women playing a role in this country. And I fear that the 9 million people are probably going to be women and children. And is this concentrated in certain parts of Afghanistan, or will it be felt nationwide?
Yes, and you are correct that in the last 20 years, Afghanistan is a model of how a country becomes aid dependent for eternity, I would say, and is not able to produce its own resources. That has been true, and it's still true. Most of these 9 million people are women and children, actually, because when you look at the age pyramid in Afghanistan, most of the population are children. So children are going to suffer from hunger, unfortunately, from this political football, I would say. And we are going to, fortunately, we have just finished the winter, and today is the Afghan New Year, Nowruz. Happy Nowruz, by the way. And the cold weather is over, but probably in the far-flung areas of Afghanistan where there is not a lot of communication, we have had fatalities, unfortunately, of mothers which are malnourished and children which are born premature. That's one of the problems we have in the country.
The cold weather may be over, but millions are still being left out literally in the cold. Torek Farhadi, as always, appreciate you speaking to us. Thank you.